Okay, thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Mohammed Fadhil. I'm glad to be part of this joint seminar between two great universities, UTM in Malaysia and University of ITC here in Baghdad. I'm happy to see biologists, computer scientists, and bioinformatician get together with shared goal, which advancing research through a meaningful collaboration. My talk today is about data-driven biology research. Biological data now become rapidly a big data, and this is due to the new technologies such as the next generation sequencing that produce lots of data, terabytes of data um, in one sample. From one sample can generate lots and terabytes of data. Also proteins data that mass spectrometry can produce. The improved microscopes and imaging now become high resolution data, high resolution images. It comes in 2D and 3D and in different formats. Also, the automated or fully automated lab devices now can generate more accurate and fast data than before. Also, now we have the wearable devices where 24 hours data being collected, data about our activity, data about our sleep, then collected due the wearable devices. Now we have the EHR systems that collect lots of data as well. So due to all this kind of data and complex data, so the complexity is increased. The scale of biological data is continually increasing. So this place demands on biologists to manage and to analyze this kind of data, which is complex task, not an easy task. So hopefully this is where the real collaboration can help with. So the data-driven biology research. And as I mentioned before, due to all this kind of complex data, modern biology should no longer relies on lab observations only. So modern biology now use larger scale data sets. As I mentioned before, this multi-sources of data that can be collected by researchers or found public or shared data sets or any kind of data set can the researcher use with the computation analysis, the predictive modeling, using all these analytics methods can help to understand the complex biological system. So I want to give example of a real practical example where our highlight where collaboration where it's really needed. So I will start with two studies, one based on the hypothesis-driven research. So and then I will talk about the data-driven research. So let's say I want to make a study I'm starting with a hypothesis like green tea consumption can reduce weight, hopefully. So I started with this hypothesis. I'm trying to build or design an experiment. So I started with independent variables that I need to build with this study. I designed I state the dependent, and of course the independent. For example, I want to say, let's say for all participants, I divided in two groups. So one group, like I asked them to consume, for example, 3 cups of green tea daily, and the other group 0. So and I weight the participants before and after, and to control their um, um, uh, food consumption. So I asked them to fix their calorie intake per day to 2,000, for example, 2,500 calorie per day. And I say I do the study for 8 weeks. So this is my experiment. Okay, of course it will be small targeted group because I can't control many participants to ask them to fix their calorie for longer and for more than this number, for a huge number of participants. So then I try to extract patterns from this data, and I used all the descriptive analysis and the statistics, correlations, anything helpful that can extract data from the study. And after I extract the data or I find some correlations, then I do like the differences and see a group that had green tea and the group that didn't take green tea, and hopefully I found some differences. I use statistical tests like t-test, z-test, ANOVA, chi-square, any kind of test that helped me with my study. And choosing the right test is based on the data. So, and hopefully I reach to the point where I can say this difference is significant. So I use, for example, p-value. If it's less than 0.05, I accept the hypothesis. I accept this hypothesis. I started at the beginning. So if the difference is significant, I prove my hypothesis. If not, the hypothesis denied. So this is the way that hypothesis-driven experiment, it's not as simple as this, but it's similar. I want to now to talk what if we use data-driven research. So data-driven usually it's a larger study that requires larger data sets. So where the large data sets come from, we can exploit or take advantage with all the data sources that I mentioned at the start of my presentation. So we have, of course, we have lab tests and genetics. This is very important source of data. Besides, we have wearable devices. As I mentioned, there's the smartwatch, smartphones that collect 24-hour data about our activity, inactive time, sleeping quality, heart rate, glucose level. Now we have they call it, I think, CGM, the continuous or continually glucose level monitor. So this is, I believe, it's very important factor in weight gaining or losing weight. So besides the wearable, the electronic health records, I can check their participants' medical history, medications, if they are taking supplements, vitamin D, anything that may be useful in the study, thyroid or metabolic conditions, of course, it's important, prior weight trends. So all these are another supplement data can help with the study. Lifestyle and nutrition data, I ask them to fix their calorie intake to 2000 calorie, for example, but I don't know what kind of food they are taking. Is it carbohydrate? Is it protein, fats? So it's also make difference in the study. Stress level, of course, we know that stressful job or they're increasing cortisol, insulin. I'm not a biologist, but I read a lot about losing weight. So, all these factors might influence weight loss or weight gain. So I try to involve all these kind of data in my study. This task is not an easy task. So here comes the collaboration. Here comes if you got a co-researcher, computer scientist, data scientist that help you with data collection. It's not only data collection, there is important stage here called pre-processing, where data comes from different formats, images, numbers, sounds, video. So all these kind of data need to be reformatted in a way that statistics and machine learning can work with. There is a lot of missing values, will be outliers. So there is a data scientist or computer scientist needed here to handle such issues in data. So after I, let's say, finish with the data collection, now and data pre-processing, now I reach to the point where I apply more advanced analytics method. Why I say here more advanced? Because we have complex data. I have complex data here, so I have to apply more complex methods on this data. So the complex method, complex analytics method like machine learning, like deep learning can extract complex pattern as well and build model based on this data. So let's say I reach to the point, I extracted patterns, I build model that can classify or predict and help me in a prediction. Then I reach to the point where I um, evaluate this model and pattern validation. Of course, I don't rely on machine learning directly, and any pattern I found, I directly go and publish the patterns. I need first to evaluate the model. I need to validate the patterns, and here comes the biologist, where he can with his domain expert validate the patterns. Some patterns are not real scientifically aligned patterns. For example, if there is an issue in data, some correlations might seen in data and some important, for example, patterns seen in data, but these patterns are not scientifically aligned. So here the domain knowledge needed, because if I have poor quality data, this poor quality data will produce poor quality model and patterns that are not reliable. So if there is any problem, then we need to go back to this stage, the pre-processing, or sometimes data collection. Sometimes I need more data. I need to enhance the quality of data even better. So then I go back to this stage and then apply the analytics methods, uh, and then check the model again and check the patterns until I reach to the point that I'm satisfied with the outcome. So now I can, let's say, come up with hypotheses like these are the main factor in weight loss. These are the green tea is not like from the top 10, or maybe it's not as mentioned before in other studies. So here I come to with a hypothesis after I did all the process. So where I want the main aim of this slide is I want to show where the collaboration really needed. The real collaboration is coming here in the data collection, the pre-processing, using advanced AI methods, evaluation, and this is this stages might get to this stage after you check the evaluation. So this is not an easy task. This need to be collaborated between different expertise in biology and computer science. After that, we reach to the point we come up with hypotheses and we can publish our work. So this is the main difference between the two studies. Of course, this is very important. The hypothesis-driven experiments is also important. Many hypotheses begin with small control studies, but through validation, if we want to make the study reproducible, we need larger data, more participants in the study. For this, the collaboration is really needed. And when we collaborate, we don't just share skills, we amplify each other's strengths. So thank you very much.